the flag of the States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First of all, I'd like to thank all the candidates for putting your name on the hat for city council for being here. And Brandon and Adrian and you guys for coming out tonight. Can I get a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second. Have a motion to approve. Mary, roll call.
Bird,
Aye.
Maxwell,
Aye.
Hank.
Aye.
All right, we'll move to public comment. Is there anybody here that has public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on. Any public hearings? You in?
Okay, great. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for the time. Time for our annual update from Harrisburg Economic Development Corporation. So I know I'm your only agenda item pretty much tonight, but I'll still make it brief so we can get out and do it in spring weather. So you have in front of you a document that we put together. The board of directors is highlighting our accomplishments. I know you're all very capable of reading, so I'm not going to take the time to read through it, but just highlight a few things. As you guys know, 2020 was a year unlike any other. So of course, our first section is our COVID-19 response. And I think you guys are all pretty familiar with what we've done. We view ourselves as partners with the city, so we'll try to keep you in the loop. I know you guys have regular meetings with Brandon, so just some highlights. Through COVID-19, of course, like everyone else, we stopped some of our major events, the Easter extravaganza, the annual meeting. We stopped our monthly luncheons, things like that. However, what we did start, and largely due to Brandon and his innovative thinking and ideas, was implementing Take Home Tuesdays, Work from Home Wednesdays, highlighting the importance of shopping local. So people were supporting our fairway instead of driving town to other grocery stores, supporting our areas instead of going other places. And I think you guys know from the sales tax dollars and figures for 2020, we were highly successful on that front. So thank you to Brandon for his innovative thinking, engaging the community in that. We also had the program where we put out there for citizen residents to purchase gift cards from local businesses, kind of give them some cash flow during this time. But especially when I think we first locked down, everything was stopped, cash flow is a necessity. So innovative programming there as well. Brandon also did an abundance of communications to our chamber members about the PPP program and all of the other different governmental programs that are out there. There's communication flowing constantly to our members about opportunities that may benefit them in their businesses. As far as organizational development, just real high level, the board is at full capacity. If you remember from last year when I was here, we had upped the number of board members to 9. We are at full capacity again. We've had resignation of Mayor Wank that way to fill that spot last summer. And then also Amber Halverson recently resigned as well. So we have filled those with very capable, great community-minded individuals. So we are at full strength and excited to head into 2021. One thing, believe it or not, that is new in organizational development for us is that we have adopted an operating budget for 2021. Sounds very basic, but when I first came to the chamber, literally all we had was a checkbook register. That's all we had to go on. So over the years, we've been implementing best practices, balance sheets, profit loss, directors insurance, things like that. And we're at the point now that we have a full-time president CEO where we have an operating budget and move forward with that. And the good news is also we have a full-time staff. We're able to change some of our events and make them profit gainers instead of losing funds and just doing them for the benefit of the community, which was really our stance before, was just doing things that were good for the community. But now we're able, through by adding additional sponsorships and things like that, able to actually make money on some of our events. So. Under economic development, We took ownership of 2 additional properties in strategic development areas. You guys are very familiar with one of those, obviously. Thank you for your generous purchase agreement on that. We have renters in that. We actually have renters in all 4 of our properties at this time. So very good there. It was a long time coming. I don't know that personally I would ever want to get into the rental property game, but Brandon has done a great job of meeting with prospective renters and getting those houses built.
I even got to sling some paint.
What's that?
I even got to sling some paint.
Digger got to play paint too. Well, I mean, our board, really, we are an active board. We've cleaned gutters, we've hauled appliances, we have painted, we have done it all. So
They're working way down the road.
yeah, yeah. So with that, kind of under economic development, you can see it's actually the second bullet point, but our real estate committee that we have within the chamber or within the HEDC board continues to look at those strategic areas, right? I don't think it's a secret, like we're looking at someday having a downtown development area. So we continue to look around that corridor and in adjacent areas for strategic properties. And then also, so Lakita, I believe you guys are all informed that they changed their name to the Sioux Metro Growth Alliance. And over the past year, in 2020, I should say, Brandon partnered with SMGA. It doesn't have a full name. You can't say like Lakita like we used to. SMGA to provide information for requests for information that came through that, you know, potential businesses or industries that were interested in Harrisburg. So he continues to partner with them on that. The Chamber of Commerce, again, it was an unfavorable environment for businesses. Most businesses didn't even know what their own funding was going to look like, yet they were willing to invest in the Harrisburg Chamber of Commerce, and we were able to grow membership by 10%. Again, as I mentioned earlier, talking about the budget, we introduced more sponsorship opportunities, which offset the cost of the events. We did host the annual golf tournament, the Harrisburg Hack Tech, and the Harrisburg Hometown Holiday, which is the lighting of the Christmas tree where Santa rides in on the fire truck. Those were outdoor events, so we just felt safe having those. Both were very well received. I would say probably attendance larger than we expected even. So good community events. And then social media reach grew. You can see by 500 new followers and 445 likes on Facebook and 200 followers on Instagram. That was all organic. There was no paid advertising or sponsorship or anything like that. On the second page, just highlighting a few of our partnerships. Again, of course, we consider the city one of our primary partners. And you guys are also part of the partnership group of Launching a Bridge, which started in 2020, that quarterly magazine. We continue to work with Harrisburg High School and their internship academy to get students placed with our member organizations. And of course, continue to develop and enhance relationships with all the different entities, including the city and the school district, but also our energy and utility providers, developers, and our government economic development agencies. So just real briefly looking ahead, I know Mayor and Alderman Maxwell, you were at lunch today, so you've heard this already, but we have, out of an abundance of caution, canceled the Easter extravaganza for this year as well. This didn't seem like a good idea to get 700 children together running around and breathing on one another. So instead we implemented a virtual Easter extravaganza where there's a coloring contest. The sheet went out through the Tiger Tuesday Peach Star Forum through the school yesterday. It'll also be on Facebook and things like that. Kids up to 10 years old can color. It's not based on their ability, but a random drawing. But if they turn it in, will be eligible to win drawings for a new bicycle. So All Seasons Property donated a bunch of bikes for last year's event, which was canceled. And they wanted to give us even more bikes. So we have all these bikes in storage, and we just want to get them in the hands of kids. So we're partnering with some of our business members to accept the return coloring sheets. We'll work with them. We're going to do a random drawing on Facebook Live on Friday the 26th. So just another feel-good community event, but also recognizing our business partners. And then finally, we recently engaged National Community Development Services, NCDS for short, to conduct a feasibility study for future projects. And I know Brandon will be meeting with each of you individually to tell you more about that. But real high level, they are an organization that is based out of Atlanta, but very familiar with South Dakota. They work on the Forward Sioux Falls campaign, Madison, Yankton, Watertown, and most comparable to Harrisburg, they did a campaign, I think it was last year, for Harrisburg. So what they do is they come in, they assess community needs, they work with their board, Mayor Link was there the last Tuesday. Yeah, last Tuesday. On behalf of the city, we had Superintendent Graff there, John Sutton from the Community Foundation, as well as the whole board of directors from HEDC to start talking about what we see as top priorities in our community. From that, a questionnaire will be formulated, and then the folks from NCBS will actually go out and conduct confidential interviews with 40, 50, 60 stakeholders that we identify to see what level of buy-in and engagement we have from the community to go forward with our proposal and case statement. So more to come on that. That's very high level, but I want to let you guys know that we have engaged them and we are starting the steps of a feasibility study.
Awesome.
That's a lot.
And brief.
Well, right? It's hard to be asked on.
Yes.
I'm like, oh,
I agree.
can't catch my breath. What questions do you guys have?
I know last year, before everything, you guys have talked about the hotel committee. Is that one of those things that kind of got put on the back burner because
Yeah.
it's not really something to really launch into right now?
It wasn't a great year for the hotel industry. Yeah.
Across the board,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's still talks out there. We're still having a conversation. It hasn't fallen off the radar. It just isn't the right time for that right now. There are some private entities, I believe.
So you guys still have it on your radar, just.
Right.
It has to be the right
And that's
time.
something I believe figured didn't that come up last Tuesday as a potential.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was probably one of the top items that
Mhm.
to be sought after for Harrisburg.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, nice.
Wasn't great this year for the hospitality.
Kind of awful.
Yeah.
Special kind of awful.
What other questions do you have?
Did you miss me on the board?
Absolutely.
Well.
What did you really expect my answer to that?
That was loaded.
You feel
I do
better
have
now?
Adam Walsh is here as well, who is the vice chair of our board. Other new members are Stacey Urban, who's a partner at iDaily, and she lives in Acreage outside Harrisburg, but kids in Harrisburg School District. Who's the other? Greg Jones from Meadow Barn, our newest board members. So everyone else renewed. So. Although since last time I was here, I guess we have a ton of new members. We also have replaced bigger. So Mike Fowler from Fairway and Dr. Derek Clapp from Evolve Chiropractic are also new members on the board. So very good representation, diverse group of small business owners, professionals. You know, we got our ones from Harrisburg. We also have some that live on the outside periphery. So it's a good board.
I
But we
noticed-
still miss you, Darren.
I did notice too that, what the business of the year you made was Shalom.
The small business here.
Small business, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So with canceling the annual meeting, usually the annual meeting is where we announce who our new directors are and give out the awards for the large business, small business, and citizen of the year. So canceling that, unfortunately, we had to just kind of do them one off. But the large business of the year was the Harrisburg School District for their response to COVID, right? And the way they were able to get our kids back in school and keep them in school up to this point. And specifically Travis Lake for his personal work that he did, 3D printing all of the safety or ear savers or whatever they're called, and shields. Our small business of the year was Shalom Lutheran Church, also for their COVID response and their pop-up pantry, how they serve that need, and also just how they're a great community partner across the board, you know, allowing their facilities to be used by a martial arts academy, by other churches, by Alcoholics Anonymous needs at Shalom. So just a great community partner all around. And then you guys probably know, because the city employee, our citizen of the year, Dean Emerson, for how we kept the community involved and engaged and informed with the drone footage, and then also stocking the fish fully. Which I've heard since I've talked about this, that many young children love that.
Mhm.
So. Well,
Thank you for
yeah,
everything. Thank you for everything you guys are doing. We really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome. We appreciate the partnership. Obviously with the organizational development that I highlighted with, our budget, we are moving towards self-sufficiency. We're obviously not there yet. We still greatly appreciate the subsidy that we get from the city. It's still very much needed at this point. But you guys have encouraged us over the last few years to make those head in that direction. And so that's definitely the direction we've been heading. So.
Communication, we just have to, it's always an ongoing thing, and it's a two-way street, so we definitely want to always keep those lines of communication open at all times, and it's always an area of growth no matter what you do. So
Absolutely.
So, we look forward to continuing working with you guys. I'm sure-
Well, and Tom
So-
from NCDS will be reaching out to you guys. You guys will be part of the group that will be doing the confidential interviews with him. So. Great. All right.
Awesome.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Adrian.
guys.
Thanks, Adrian.
And with that, we'll move on to business item number 1 here for the economic development. Part A, consider 2021 subsidy request.
Again, this is the annual subsidy that we provide to HEDC. What was requested, they had requested 80,000. You recall with our third penny, that's where this comes out of. We just aren't up to that amount yet, with revenue coming in, and we did have a year that went down a little bit last year, but what was included for this budget was $52,720. So it's up to you, whatever. That is what we do have in the budget. And hopefully our revenue will come through this year, but we were down like 12% last year.
I will move to approve the 2021 Harrisburg Economic Development Subsidy in the amount of $52,720.
Second.
Have a motion to approve. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Mary, roll call.
Bird,
Aye.
Maxwell,
Aye.
Hank,
Aye.
Item number B. Consider 2021 supplemental.
This is to continue the partnership with, with the real estate committee that Adam's been heading up. And are working together on the acquiring of lots and making sure that the city, when we can, get portions of the properties that work with for future infrastructure improvements and things like that.
I'll move to approve a supplemental payment for 2021 to the Harrisburg Economic Development Corporation in the amount of $50,000 from the general fund.
Second. Have a motion to approve. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Mary, roll.
Bird,
Aye.
Maxwell,
Aye.
Aye.
Business item number 2. First reading ordinance 2021-01 supplemental appropriation ordinance.
this is the first reading of the supplemental. That will include the 50,000 that you just approved, to come from the general fund. We had not budgeted for that to begin with, so that includes that. As well as 490,000 from the improvements other than buildings for streets. This is for the Willow Street path. This had been budgeted in years past. I'm gonna say several years past, and we kept carrying it over. We thought last year we'd get the final bill and then we'd be done with it. We didn't get the bill until just a couple weeks ago. So we didn't budget for it this year because we thought we'd be completed. So it's really just a carryover of funds that we did not use from 2020 over to 2021, but we need to include it into our budget so that they know that they're spending that.
I'll move to set the second reading of ordinance 2021-01 supplemental appropriations ordinance for March 15th, 2021 city council meeting.
Second.
Have a motion to approve. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Mary, roll call.
Bird,
Aye.
Maxwell,
Aye.
Aye.
Business item number 3, approval and authorize the mayor to sign water purchase agreement. Joe?
Only one today, Joe?
Well, maybe not even listening.
You was up here for about 20 minutes. Man.
We had got a draft agreement put together. Our attorney had some proposed revisions. And that's the one you have in your council packet. Simply reviewed it very quickly today yet. And they countered with some of those, they didn't agree to some of those revisions and countered with some.
And so instead of requesting action tonight, since they responded so quickly, I think we're just gonna wait again until next council meeting. This is, just to remind you all, this is for additional water with Sibley, who's also on Lewis and Clark Rural Water System, which we are on. It would be a 30-year agreement. This would be a large amount of water that would hopefully be able to supply us for at least the next 10 years of our expected development growth trends. Part of it is kind of obligates us that when the expansion happens of Lewis and Clark, and they're thinking 7-8 years, I think that's optimistic.
I've been
but-
saying that for about 10 years.
Yeah. When that happens, we are obligated for 75% of what Sibley's cost would have been to do that construction. And we get 50% of Sibley's water for that expansion, which is another large amount of water too. And so it really sets us up for a long while. I don't know if it solves all our problems, but for the next 10 years, we're gonna be sitting really good. So once we get our attorney reviews it again, we'll bring it to the next meeting. Hopefully we'll have it all ironed out like that.
Is there anything in particular that would seem like it'd be a very big sticky point that they would feel strongly about?
Well, so I think Nate kind of got into a lot of attorney talk that they didn't want to make it seem like we were obligated for long-term debt and things like that.
It's almost as bad as engineering talk.
Yeah. Yeah, attorney talks over my head, so I'm gonna let, I think, our attorney has actually just reached out to their attorney and they're just gonna get it figured out. So hopefully next council meeting.
Thank you, Bill. We'll take no action on that then.
Before we finish, I just want to thank everyone who thoughts and prayers for the loss of my mother-in-law, all the warm wishes and everything. I just appreciate it so much, and on behalf of my wife, and just thank you. So I just wanted to throw that out there before we finish.
Move to adjourn the city council meeting at 6:23 p.m.
Second.
Have a motion to adjourn, Mayor roll call.
Irving,
Aye.
Maxwell,
Hi.
Hank,
Aye.